Hello everyone. In the last session, we discussed about introduction to core data services, advanced concepts of core data services, and some of the SQL features of core data services. In continuation to that unit, in today's session we discussed some of and other enhanced features of core data services. So before starting, uh, and before start before I start with the discussion of enhanced features of core data services, I I will go through uh, my report which I have shown you in the previous session how to consume CDS views in a ABAP. So here in the last session I discussed these things, but I missed to show you how to use client in the select query to consume CDS view. So here this is my CDS view. So using client, and suppose if I wanted to specify specific client in my select query, so that can be specified here and I can activate it. So there may be a situation where you just I will edit the syntax. So it is showing but in any SQL syntax is it must be throughout includes host variable to escape. So here this is not my I have using client in normal SQL select. I have to use here using client 800. So since I am in 800 client, I'm using 800 client. So control F3. So if you see this, it's activated. So that means that you can use using client syntax in our select query. So now if I click on F8, so it means that there is success. So if there may be a situation where you work in or you need a data from different client. So if you wanted to get data from each client from suppose this is my CDS view. So this is my uh, SQL view. So currently this is in 800 client. So if we go to system and status, we can see the client currently which I am using now. So this is 800 client. So there may be a situation where you need to get the data from a specific client. Then you can use using client syntax in new OpenSQL syntax. So select star from that CDS alias is nothing but your CDS view entity. That is why I am not able to access when I click on F4. Since this is a SQL view, I'm able to when I double click on this, I'm able to navigate it. So I used using client syntax to specify 800. That means that I'm getting the data to LT table only from 800 client. So if I debug it for you, so I kept a breakpoint. Now I'm clicking on F8. So I'll go to desktop 3. So now we see LT table. So let's click on F5. So I got the data. So see I got the data everything. So means that indirectly using client syntax, what I mean to show was what I meant here was you can use using client syntax in your select query. Uh, this is the new OpenSQL syntax. So now I will continue with the next concept, ABAP CDS associations. So in ABAP CDS associations, so this concept was nothing but when we already discussed in the previous sessions that how to use joins in CDS views. So when you wanted to combine one or two tables which has a relationship, so you can use joins, or instead of joins you can use associations as well. So here you mean to say that here if you see in my example which I am showing in the right side, so I'm combining here sales order header table and sales business partner table. So for each sales order there is a business partner associated with that. So I'm combining sales order table business partner table with an association. So I can use here inner join as well. So or left outer join or right outer join as well. So when you use associations, that means that you are forming a relationship between parent and child entity. So if you have any parent entity and if you have a child entity, so then you can form an association using parent and child entity. So this is mainly used when to form OData, to create OData service on top of your CDS view when you use associations. So you will go for joins only when you need to get the data from 2 or 3 tables and combine the data based on an condition. Then you will go for joins. You will go for associations only when you wanted to form a relationship, and if you wanted to generate a OData service on top of it, then you will create associations. So if you see, I have a view here. So I'm selecting it and I'm combining here with the sales order table and business partner table, forming a association with 0 to 1 relationship. So, so we form a relationship between two entities. Here, my sales order is an entity and business partner is another entity. I'm forming a relationship association that is cardinality of 0 to 1. So association definition contains target entity, cardinality, alias name, and on condition. So if you see here, I defined the association between sales order and business partner, and I formed a alias called business partner relationship. So sales order as SO and SNW business partner as business partners. So you can say my relationship is business partners here. So I formed a on condition based on the SO underscore buyer guide and business partner dot node key. So here association mainly used here to form a relationship between two entities. So another advantage of doing associations was when you have a parent and child entity, then you can form associations. So and you also can generate OData service on top of your CDS view when you have association um, between parent and child entities. So if you have a complex OData service you wanted to build across 3 or 4 views, then you can create an association and you can give a cardinality. So here in associations, we have two functionalities we have in associations. One is expressions, other was filter expressions. So path expressions is used to navigate along relationships. So which I will be showing in the next concept, which is nothing but path expressions. So associations have path expressions and filter expressions as well. So which that is nothing but you can navigate to the relationship. Which you when you form a relationship with sales setter and business partner, so you can navigate to business partner entities as well. So that is nothing but path expressions here. So in that path expressions, you can have a filter expressions as well, which I will be showing in the next slides. So, and coming to associations, associations by default, we can say it's as a left outer join. So it forms a left outer join between your parent and child entity. When you form an uncondition, it forms a left outer join. That means that it gets the all the fields from the left table and common fields from the two tables. So what is the advantage of association? So association is nothing but entity data model. You can easily consume your model. So consumption is easy. So entity data model is possible. On top of that, you can form OData service as well. So complex tables are, when two or three, you can join 2 or 3 tables and form a relationship. So you can reuse views, and here joins are only generated if corresponding association is consumed here. So that means that associations is by nothing but joins. Associations is nothing but joins here, but joins are generated only when when the association is consumed. So I'll go into the system and I will show you how associations work. So I will create a new view, new data definition. So this thing already showed you in the previous session, how to create a data definition. So I will go to dictionary, data definition or DDL source, ZCDS underscore association, associations. So I'm clicking on finish. I can even select the template as well. So this will defaultly give me some template to code association, means to define my association view. So if you see, it is already generated a template for me to create an association view, CDS association view. So I will firstly change my SQL view. ASS, I'll give just underscore, and I will select from, I have a template, predefined template. So if you see here, I have to give here data source, and I have to give association relationship with the target source. That means that this is the parent table, this is the child table, and I am forming association. So association, if you see, you have to give association name with underscore. So, and you have to give a AND condition with parent uh, element and with a child element with a common condition. And then you can make association public using, you can make association public with means that means that when you expose your it is nothing but you are exposing your association. When you have this name, you have to write this name to expose your association. So I'll change one by one. So first I will select, I have a predefined template. I will go to the exercise. So I'll go to associations. This is my predefined code snippet. So what I will do is I will select from, so I will use SNWD. I'll just use association with as select. So I will just copy from here. So I will use this as select from. So, so this is my association now. So what I have done, I have used a sales order table. I have used a business partner table, and I have formed association between both these two with the 0 to 1 cardinality. By default, it is 0 to 1. So if I wanted to give 0 to star, suppose I have to give 0, and then here instead of 1, I can give star as well. So that is how association works. So as of now, I'm giving only one association, 0 to 1 association. So this is my association relationship. So that I can represent it with underscore. This is standard representation. So I will be giving underscore. So, and I selected 2 or 3 fields. If I wanted to select any field, so any field from the other node, other table, then I can select as well. So business partner dot and BP role. So that means that I am selecting from business partner table my BP role. So this is nothing but path expression as well. So this is nothing but path expression as well, which I will be showing in the next slides. So I'm just activating my CDS view with Control F3 I have pressed, and I'm activating it. So you can activate from here as well, run as a web application. You can do run as a web application as well. So it will run for you. So I'm clicking on execute F8. So if you see, it's at executed. That means that it formed association. I can drill down to association as well. So if you see, follow association also, I can see from it is coming from no associations defined. If you see, so if I see here, double click, follow associations, no associations defined. You see, follow association. That means that no associations defined here. So association, when associations were defined for buyer guide only. So that is how. So if I give some so underscore buyer guide, buyer guide. So I'll give Control F3 again and click on F8. So if you see here, I can do follow associations. No associations defined. So list of associations I'm not getting here. So actually, when you click on any entity, so if you click on distinct values, quick filter or follow association, so it should give you the association values as well. So that is how we can drill down to association. This feature is available maybe from a in a previous 7.5 and above. So this is how you form association. So this thing you can call as a path expression. Path expression. So comments can be done using double quotations, double forward slash. So then it forms a comment for me. So if you wanted to go Control F3, so I'm activating it. So if you wanted to do multiple lines as a comment, select this multiple lines and use Control Shift less than. So if you wanted to uncomment it, Control Shift greater than. Okay. So Control Shift less than is for commenting. Control Shift greater than is for uncommenting. So I'm just activating it. So I'm clicking on F8. So I got again the same result. So this is how you form the associations in CDS views. So I'll continue with the next concept. How path expressions. Path expressions are nothing but the using path expressions you will be able to navigate to the relationship which you formed from base table to child table. So when you form a relations between base table to child table, you can use associations so to navigate to child entities. For example, in the current example itself, I navigated to business partner dot bp role. That means that using relationship I'm able to navigate to relationships of child entities. So these things you call it as a path expressions. So if I give again business partners dot control space, I'm able to navigate to all the fields of my child table. Here child table is business partner table for me. Parent table is sales order table. So if you are not able to using path expressions, you will be able to navigate to the child entity fields. So that is how path expressions work. So what I will be doing was I will create a new view for you. Control F3. I'm just activate this view and I will go to dictionary and then I will create a new view for you for JetCDS path expressions. Path expressions. So path expressions. So finish. So you see it is for path expressions also I got a same SQL syntax. So I'll go to exercise and go to path expressions. So I will just take, I'll copy the code snippet. So I'll use Control C and copy the snippet. Control D, Control V. So I have to change my CDS view according to the view which I have created. That CDS path X. So I have to, I can, so it is showing me view already exists. So that CDS view path, I'll give X. So here what I'm doing was I'm giving a view from flight table. I'm associating to career table. As association name I'm giving as S underscore scar with career ID and con ID. So here my parent table is flight table, child table is career table. I'm forming a relationship underscore scar and I have an unconditioned based on the career ID between these two fields. And I formed a career and a SPLF career as ID. And if you see, this is path expressions. That means that I'm able to navigate to the career name of the child table, okay, as career and as flight. So path expressions is nothing but you will be able to navigate to child entity fields. Okay, I'm just executing it. So you got all the fields. So if you see here, follow associations. No associations are defined. So if I give here, no associations are defined. Career ID is fine. Generally, you will get association name. So now you are not getting because of maybe because of a version which I am using currently now. So this is about path expressions. I will go to the next topic, filter expressions. Filter expressions are nothing but, so when you form association between parent and child entities, in the child entities you can have a filter as well for the path expressions. For the path expressions, the exposed associations which you have exposed. So if you wanted to expose here in the same CDS view, if you wanted to expose the association, you can expose as well. So that means that you are exposing association here. I'm just giving Control F3 here. So that means you are exposing association so that you can use these associations in the other view. So you can call it as exposing association. Use of association can lead to cylindrical dependencies. That is okay. So Control F3, that's a warning. Warnings can be ignored only if you have errors, then only you should fix them. So when I'm clicking on F8, so if you see SCHAR is not a field, it's just nothing but you are exposing an associations. So to expose an association, you have to just write that association here. Yeah. No filter expressions. So filter expressions is nothing but to the exposed association, you can have a filter as well, so that it will select only based on the filter conditions only, it will select the values. So I will create one more view here, ZCDS filter expressions, filter expressions, filter expressions. I will name it and finish. Click on OK. So it's generated a pre-printed template for me. So I'll go to exercise and I will go to filter expressions exercise. So I'll just copy this code snippet and I will just use this code snippet. So I'll just rename it. CS underscore. I named it as FILX. FILEX. LEX. So I'll just name it as. I'll just change it. Maybe it is already exists, so I'll change it. So, so now here what I have done was the same way I have used association between SCustom and SBook. This is my parent table. As I shown in the previous example for association. So up to here, this is the same which I have showed you. So I used a parent table as custom, child table as book. I formed a association between as custom and as book uh, with an relationship with an association name underscore bookings. So with an on condition. This is same as previous concept. So I have used some fields customer ID, customer name. So from S bookings is my association name. So I exposed the bookings as well without filter. So I am exposing this association with filter saying that you expose an association within brackets saying that class is a field. So class C as a business flights. So that means that I will just activate it. I will show you class is nothing but a field in a SBook table. So I'll just I'll go to this entity SBook, click on F3 and navigate to SBook. It is taking time, so it is navigating. It is taking time to navigate. So if you see here, when I double click then is in SBook, so if you see class is a field, so I'm filtering based on a class C. So if I go to my CDS filter, so I'm defining this view, define this underscore bookings. I'm filtering with class C. So I enclosed with braces as S flights. So you can expose your association with filter. You can expose association without filter. So I'm clicking on F8. So then it will return me only the fields with class C. So if you change the class to some A, so business economy, or if you change the class to any other class, then it will return the fields only with particular class. So that means that you can have a filter condition to the exposed association, or you cannot have a exposed filter condition for your exposed association. So so the topics which I discussed now was associations, path expressions, filter conditions. So associations forms a relationship between parent and child entity. Uh, Path expressions navigates to the relationships. That means that to the child entity fields as well. You can uh, yeah you can navigate them and add them to your CDS view using path expressions and using filter conditions. You can have a filter conditions on your exposed associations, and you can expose them so that these associations, these exposed associations might be useful in the other views. When you use this view in the this view in another view, so you can select this exposed associations fields you can select in the other view. So that is about associations, path expressions, and filter conditions. So next, coming to view with input parameters. So you can have view with input parameters as well. So as traditionally our class, when you create a SE38 ABAP report, so when you have you have all when you create a report with a employee as an input. So if I input employee saying 3, I need to get the address of the employee. That means that when I create a report in SE38, for example, there I'm inputting, I'll give parameters as my types, and I input 3 there. So when I input 3, I will use a select query to get the address of the 3. So and I display the output. That means that in SE38, I use parameters uh, as a as a parameters as a type to input into that report. In the same way, in CDS views as well, there is a flexibility to give input parameters to your CDS view. That means that CDS view has flexibility to give input parameters as well. So here I will just I'll just go to my Eclipse HANA Studio, which went to ABAP perspective. And now I will create one more DDL source, ZCDS underscore view input parameters, view input parameters, PA. I'll just view with input parameters. So description, view with input parameters. Clicking on finish. Okay. So I'll go to my exercise and I will take view with input parameters code snippet, which I have already. So I'll use Control C. So Control A, Control V. So how to you change the view name here? IP parameters. IP parameters. I think I'm correct here. So I'll change the SQL view name. So jet view IP. So I hope I corrected all the syntax errors. So now if you see here, I defined a view. This is my CDS view entity with parameters. That means that like in a SE38 ABAP report, I defined a P underscore distance. So this is my, I have given a domain name. So I can navigate as well. I will just first activate this CDS view with control F3. So and then I can, if I give this and click on F3, I will be able to navigate to this data element. So as a distance is a data element here. So I'll just maximize the screen. So as distance is again a data element. So with parameters is a keyword which should be used to define input parameters to your CDS view. So I have given p underscore distance as distance, and p underscore o with as distance, and p underscore unit. So I have 3 input parameters. To distance from, you can say distance from, and distance unit of measure maybe. This is another data element. If I click on F3, it will navigate me to the data element. So I have 3 input parameters to my CDS view. So I am inputting 3. So I have to give runtime these 3 parameters, and I select start from, this is SPFLI, this is flight table with some fields. I'm selecting some fields. If you need, you can select one more field as well. Suppose control space you can do. So if I put from, suppose you can select put from. Okay. So and then in a where condition, I'm using this again, distance ID is equal to which I'm inputting unit measure, and distance from inputting, and between if you see distance id in unit, distance between this win, I need a distance between. Suppose if I entered 5 and 10, I need to get 5 and 500. I need to get all the airports, all the fields which is from and to. With this unit measure, I need to get the fields. So I'm just again clicking on control F3. So I'm clicking on F8. Now as soon as when I click on F8, it will ask me input parameters for me. So distance from and to, because 1 and I'm giving some around 500, and I'm giving some kilometers. as a unit of measure. So I'm clicking on OK. So if you see, there is no with the values with 1 and 500. So I will execute again the CDSU. Click on F8. So I'll give 5, 2 and 5000. I'll give, and I will give some kilometers. Click on OK. Click on OK. So that means that there is no values with this. So I'll just maybe because of this might get some error. Control F3. I'll activate it. Click on F8. I'm again giving some 2 and 5000. So km, caps km. Yes. So if I give based on these kilometers 5 and 5000, I have some distance of city from Frankfurt to city to Berlin, city from Berlin to city from Frankfurt. So I have distance was 555 kilometers, 555 kilometers. So and then if you see con ID, this is the flight, carrier ID, carrier ID. So that means that, so if you from and to, what are the flights you need to get? So you can give the distance as well. So when I click on F8, that means that you are giving from and to this distance. You are giving some unit. So so what are the flights? You need to get the flights. So when you give some distance, you need to get the flights which is going from which city to which city. So the main important thing was when you give input parameters, you should use syntax here with parameters syntax, and you have to give specified data element here, and you have to select in a where condition. You have to use with a colon saying the distance colon p unit and distance colon. This is how you will give you will give colon and then unit colon and unit. This is how you give your uh, you define your view with input parameters in a where conditions as well. That means that the value which you give in the when you click on F8 and give the value will be replaced in the where condition here. So you cannot debug the CDSU. That is how why, because this is defining your view. So when you defining a view as a normal SQL database dictionary view, there is no possibility of debugging a CDS view. So this is how you define a view with input parameters. So I'll just go to view with input parameters. So I hope you understood view, what is the advantage of view with the input parameters. So now we'll go with different ways to expose CDS view as word data service. So different ways to expose CDS views as word data service. So so there are three different ways to expose CDS views as word data service. So uh, we have a CDS view, and if you need to expose them as a word data service, so that users will be front-end users like SAP UI and Fiori, they can use your CDS view to build the UI application. Even in S4 HANA cloud version, the CDS views will be used when you generate word data service. UEFI applications such as analytical application, fact sheet applications, and other analytical applications, transition applications, all Fiori applications in S4 HANA Cloud. Now they are using CDS views to expose data as a CDS word data service. So there are three different ways to expose CDS views as word data service. They depend upon the version which you use. If you are using SAP NetWeaver 7.4, then you expose CDS view as import DDIC structure feature. So that means that uh, using when you create a CDS view and when you activate it, two things are generated. You already know that one thing was CDS view entity, other thing was ABAP SQL view. So ABAP SQL view can be accessed in SE11 as well. So the ABAP SQL view can be identified using at the rate ABAP catalog from the annotation at the rate ABAP catalog dot SQL view name. There you can find SQL view name. So that can be accessed from S11. So from there you will be able to access, you will be able to create a word data service from there. you can use that in SCGW transition, create a OData service. So in type 1, expose CDSV as a OData service. This this type of methodology is helpful only in SAP NetWeaver 7.4. I'm clearly stressing this word. If you have a system of SAP NetWeaver 7.4, then only you will be able to expose this, use this, you can expose this CDS view as this type 1. So there are other type 2 and type 3 as well. So that those things used in the SAP NetWeaver 7.5, that is the latest version now. So when you use SAP NetWeaver 7.5, there is a different methodology to expose the your CDS view as a OData service. So now in the current in the current scenario, now I will be showing you how to expose a CDS view as a OData service type 1. This type is supported in SAP NetWeaver 7.4. So I will go into the system and I will show you how I will expose them as a OData service. So I will just take any of the CDS view. Suppose I will take sample CDS view. Suppose, so if you see, I'll take CDS view, sample CDS view with I'll go to my, I think I created many CDS views in this session, in this course. So I'll go to sync select star, suppose, or I'll use um, case as annotations, or I can use case expressions as well. Any CDS view I can use. So as of now, I'll be using simple CDS view like select star. Okay. So this CDS view, I will be able to access from my ECC system as well. So as of now, my ECC system was closed. I will reopen again. I'll reopen this again. So I'll just reopen the again. So ECC, I'm just logging it. I'm just logging it into it. So with SR0015, SR0015 is my username, and I have to enter my password as well. So I'll enter my password. So yes, I logged in into SAP login. Now I'll go to SCGW transition. So SCGW is a transition where you will create a SAP NetWeaver Gateway Service Builder. So this is a SAP NetWeaver Service Builder where you will be creating a project to create a OData service. So my CDS view was, I can access from SC11 first. So I will open my CDS view. So what I have done was I selected SQL. So for this CDS view, I'm going to expose as a OData service. So I just selected this. So since I can access this from SQL view, so I'm just copying it. So I just copied it. So I will go to my system. So I'll go to SCGW. So SCGW is a transition to create a gateway service. So I'm creating a project. So jet CDS expose OData. So this is my project name. So I'm exposing CDS view as OData service. So package I'll be using as of now local object. So if you see, as soon as when I create a project, automatically I got data model. So here uh, this is nothing but how do you create a OData service by exposing a CDS view. So the developers who has knowledge of creating OData service or who knows SAP UEFI, who consume OData service, they would be familiar with this approach of consuming OData service, creating the project in a service builder transition. So if you see, this is SAP NetWeaver service builder transition. So if you see, as soon as when I create a project, I got data model, service implementation, runtime artifacts, and service maintenance. So now what I will be doing was in the data model, I'll right click and I will import. So these are the folders which will be generated when you create a project in service builder transition. So in SCGW. So this is a data model. So I'm right clicking on the data model. I'm clicking on import and I'm clicking on Didic structure. So what I have done, I right clicked on data model. I clicked on import and clicked on Didic structure. So here what I am doing was I'm just copying the CDS entity which I can be accessed from my ABAP system and control. I'm just pasting it. So this is a simple entity type. So I'm just selecting radio button entity type. So I'm selecting radio button entity type. So sorry, I just have to copy this in ABAP structure and name it as uh, sample. So I'm just naming a sample entity. So it will I'm selecting a checkbox with create default. I'm just making it, I'm not unchecking it. So it will create entity set as well from me. So I'm just clicking on I'm clicking on next. Just clicking on next. So I will be selecting all the fields except mandate. So clicking on next. So I have to specify the key as well. So I'm specifying ID as a key. So before I selected all the fields, now I'm selecting what is the key. So I'm clicking on finish. So if you see here, the project web CDS expository has been checked with no errors. So that means that I got an entity type with properties, ID, gross amount and currency. So entity set also created for me with simple set. So if you see, these are the fields, right? ID, gross amount and currency code was the fields from my CDS. So this I have created it. Now, if you see service implementation, I got service implementation as well. So I have to generate runtime artifacts. To generate runtime artifacts, I have to click on this button. So there is a round button if you see here. So this button, if I click, I will be able to generate all the runtime artifacts. So when I click on this, it will generate a model class for me, MPC, ext, MPC. So this is nothing but this model class for my OData service. This is nothing but data provider class from my OData for my CDS view. So this it creates a service for me, service class, technical service class. This is creates a model class for me. So these things will be familiar to the developers, UEFI developers and OData developers who works on front end and to create a UEFI application or Fiori application. So they would be more familiar for them. So generally when you create a when you have a OData service, the backend for that OData service will be there is a model class and there will be a data provider class. So MPC is nothing but model class. DPC is nothing but data provider class, and the technical model is will be you can untech. This is the service name where you will be accessing in the browser. So I'm clicking on OK. So I'm clicking on local object as well, saving this in the local object. So as soon as when I save it in the local objects, it will generate runtime artifacts for me. So it is saving now. So if you see, model class is generated from me, MPC, MPC ext is generated from me, DPC is generated from me, DPC ext is generated from me, DPC this is uh, implemented as well, successfully generated and implemented as well. Since this is implemented because I exposed CDS view as your data service. So service class generated for me and model class generated for me. These are the classes which will be generated in the runtime artifacts folder when I uh, click on generate runtime objects. So now we'll go to service maintenance. So if you see this, this is my gateway service registration I have to do. So this is my system MG1. So I will select this and I have to click on register. So this is where you are registering your service to expose to the outside world. You have to register the service. So I'm just clicking on S. So could not connect to the system. Check log. It is showing me that. So if you see here, I got an error saying could not connect to the system, could not connect to the system due to some errors. It showed me that could not connect. I'm just opening again, just closing it, closing it, just closing it, opening again. See here, I have this. So it is showing that it is not registering. If you see this, register the service. So could not connect to the selected system. Check log for details. So it is showing me an error. So I'm just minimize it for you to show the error. So it is showing me. So could not connect to the selected system. Check log for details. So I have to check the error log. Maybe this system was not connected properly in my gateway. So I can check this from SPRO's transition SPRO. So I have to, this is my reference implementation. So I can go to SAP NetWeaver. So gateway service enablement, backend OData channel, or I can go to gateway as well. So OData channel, administrator, so general settings. So here activate and maintain services. So here, so there is no systems available here. So I have to maybe I have to maintain a system alias maybe. So alias was not maintained here. That is why it is not able to system. MG1 is a transition. So I'll check again. So I'll go to this. I'll go to this SPRO again. So just go to this SPRO. So just open again with a new transition, new session. I will open a new session and I will open SPRO again. So reference implementation, gateway, OData channel, configuration, user settings, go to system gateway user, connection, activate and deactivate SAP NetWeaver gateway. Maybe I have to active is currently active, or if you want to do active, no, I need is a gateway is active for me. So I have to go to administrator. I have to go to general settings, assign data provider to data, assign SAP system alias to data service maybe. I have to double click on this. So here, so if you see system alias local was there, so maybe I have to expose this service. So now new alias, I can go to gateway as well. Maybe I can add create this system was MG1 client 001. So but now I'm currently using 8008. So maybe I have to go to system alias and have to add this back, assign data provider, activate and maintain services. I'll just go to activate and maintain services. I'll go to add service. So system alias I will use local. So in this local I have to add the technical service name will be, so I have already technical service name. I will try to add it to the local server. So I'll just go to my technical service name. So technical service name would be for me, so this is the technical service name for me. So I'll try to take this service. So technical service name, I'll just get services. So I'll select this and add selected services. So I'll try to add the selected services to the local object. So local object, I'll save it. So I'm saving it in the local object only. I'm just clicking on OK. Was created and loaded successfully. So I can go back now. So I can do some filter here. So with my service name. So this is my service name. So here I can call gateway client from here. So expose data service. So I'm clicking on enter. So it is 500 error it is showing me. So that means the system local was there. So I have to register the service maybe. So now if you see local was added here. So now I will just go to my system now. I'll go back, go back, go back, and I will again come to SCGW. So this is my service. So gateway client register. Yes. Come to select a system, check log error log. Maybe I can check the error log as well. System maintain service. It is showing me 500 error. That means that it is not able to connect to the system. So I will go to this aliases. I'll add the system alias here. So new alias. So the system alias I should be added to maybe MIG. So local and or I'll add MIG. So local. So MIG is a gateway. So I'll just save it. Okay, service identifier. Okay, and saved it. So I'll go back now. So now I have gateway as well. So now I'll try to go inside. So I'll test this connection first. So if you see the connection was not working properly, that is the problem. So if I go to local and then test this, I can test the local gateway service as well. So local is working fine. This MGI is a gateway which is connecting to the other system. So I should get here local here. So then only I will be able to, I cannot connect to MGI. So I should, in the service maintenance tab, I should get local and register the service. Then only I would be uh, able to register and execute my service. So I will try one more time in the SPRO to add the system alias here. So there might be some settings to add assign data provider to data model, system alias to data service. So I will try adding here with the new entries. SAP system alias will be local. I'll try add local here. I'll add local and service provider will be control F, ZCDS expose star and click on F4. So this is my service provider. Click on save. Already exists with the same key. So it's already existed. Expose CDS with version 1. So if I go now, my runtime implementation, this is my SRP. So I will try to give only this one and save. Not exist. Okay. So here I am not able to get local here. because this MG1 is in client 001, so connection was failed. I already showed you. So system status, if you see, currently we are in 800 client, so there is no connection proper in the 100. So I should get here a local, then only I will be able to register the service and maintain the service. So here I partially showed you how to create a project here in SCGW transition, and how you will import to the Redux structure here, and how you run give the key and form the entity and NTC sets. So in the next session I will be showing you how to generate OData service from here. Next steps I will be showing you in the next session, since I need to do some configurations here to add it into the service maintenance folder. So I will be showing you this in the next sessions. Thank you.